Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 104 of the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. My name is Geoff, and alongside me, as always, is the Alex Shelley to my Josh Alexander. It's Max, everybody.
Hey, I'll take that. I'm okay with that comparison. I mean,
it's not
to
bad.
be fair, we put on a hell of a show every week. So
there you go. That's the way to look at it. Nice way to connect it there. Yeah, guys, we're going to banter. You know how it goes here. We'll talk nonsense, but we're going to have fun doing it. But we have a lot of show to go over, man. We have a lot of fire comments from you guys. We hope the chat lights up as well, as it did on the pre-show. Thank you guys to everyone who tuned into that. That was pretty fun. We'll go over the prediction board. We have power rankings for you. It's going to be a good one. So, Max, I'm going to ask you first, without too much detail, but what are you looking forward to the most about talking about?
You know, I can't lie, G. I only watched one match of the whole pay-per-view.
Really?
After Bhupinder lost the Digital Media Championship, I was so broken up and so upset, I just turned it off and was like, I'm done with this, man. The fact that the future of the company couldn't come away as the new Digital Media Champion just completely ruined my outlook. No, I'm excited to talk about a couple things. The Knockouts tag match I'm excited about because you had mentioned something a while back, not about these two, but I think we'll get to it when we talk about it.
Okay.
And also, obviously, excited to talk about the main event.
Yeah, man.
Knocked it out of the park.
You know, I peel it back a little bit. We do have a few minutes to hit our mark here, but we banter off air a little bit. Obviously we're friends, but mostly not about wrestling that much. We kind of just catch about things. So when he has something to tell me, or I have some comments that he doesn't know about yet that we're going to discuss, it sparks a little excitement for us. So we hope you're excited as well. I guess we shouldn't waste too much time. I know people will flow in. I think it's important because rankings talk about. Now, obviously, this Tuesday you could catch GoGoPowerRankings. On this one here, it's my voice doing the narration. T. Hughes 1990. What's up, buddy? And this Tuesday it'll be myself and Bert as well. Datila's on a little bit of a vacation, so I'll save all my gripes and stuff. I don't know if there's too many about the power rankings for Tuesday. But Max, who are you looking forward to be on this one, man? Just to get your opinion.
I mean, obviously, Josh has to be number one. If he's not, then I'm freaking out. I want to see where Shelley falls because he obviously lost, but he looked like I want to see where the respect for Alex Shelley is.
Okay, that's fair. So yeah, let's see that, and we'll talk about it in just a moment. Number 10, Digital Media Champion, Brian Myers. Number 9, Bandito. Number 8, the HBIC, Mia Yim. Number 7, Alex Shelley. Number 6, Death Machine, Sami Callihan. Number 5, Tag Team Champions, Vexed. Number 4, X Division Champion, Mike Bailey. Number 3, Honor No More. Number 2, World Champion Jordynne Grace. Number 1, World Champion Josh Alexander. All right, Max, you got your wish?
Yeah, I can't be mad at those. I think those are solid rankings.
Yeah, I agree. I get your world champion at 1. The one thing I will say is I was the last to vote this time. And I had the opportunity to put Masha at 10 or put Myers at 10, man. And because of what you said at the beginning, Myers did the damn job. He also dressed like the White Rangers, so it's fitting he gets the green 10 spot. But I'll talk about more of that on Tuesday. I look forward to doing that. But, man, like you said about Shelley, he was on there respectively. And there's just so many more people that deserve a spot, even though it's 10.
Yeah.
It's just whatever. But you know what I'm saying. We're getting back to that place where we feel maybe not as thin of a show, to be honest. So
no, I definitely agree with that. There's depth here, so
especially with Honor No More staying together. So that helps. All right, let's get to Impact. Well, it's not Impact on Access TV. It's a little culmination of both, but it's more geared towards Emergence, as we did on the pre-show. We talked about Impact on Access TV. Once again, if you guys want to watch the pre-shows, they're an hour before the Impact pre-shows, right on Twitch, exclusive. So make sure you follow us there, and especially if you're watching us now, and you won't miss any of them. All right, but Max, what a show. We'll talk about what everyone thought about it grade-wise. We'll talk about it, our grade, in a little bit. But first, let's go over the matches. We'll start with it. Talk about the pre-show. DMC, Brian Myers, shitting on Chicago. And that scared me, to be honest. I said, oh, man. They're going to try to put this dude over, being the hero, the Chicagoan he is. And no, Brian Myers cheated to win, but he won nonetheless. We have a bunch of comments on later, at least a couple, about where the DMC should go from here. But happy with the results.
I agree. I know we were both a little bit scared of the possibility. I think we had said in the pre-show that if Bhupinder wins, nothing against Bhupinder, they might as well just throw this title in the trash and let Eric Young find it and run with it, because it's just dead. But Brian Myers, he's may not be the hero we want, but he was the hero we deserved on Friday night.
Yeah. We'll talk about Brian Myers and his run or his reign a little bit later in the comments, so I won't dive into that. I'm glad he won. I'll talk about him a bit later. Now with Bhupinder, as you said, no disrespect to, it's just the status of where we want this title. Like we don't want a European TV title. We want it U.S. Intercontinental. And
we see potential in Bhupinder.
Oh, for sure. And
he's just not there yet.
And that's what I wanted to say was, besides for him doing that drop kick and knocking himself silly from the top rope, it looked like hit his head pretty hard. This was probably his best outing, man. Once again, potential. Next World Heavyweight Champion, as they keep pushing him as, not so much, but needs the time to marinate. He'll find it. I'm looking for a little gimmick from him now, so he can bite into something, and we can not just say, oh, there's Bhupinder this week. So next up was a little weird for me. I know you said you wanted to talk about it, and obviously I have something to mention about it. But Vexed here defeating Team Ragnarok, and this was my mistake here. I thought Team Ragnarok would keep it one more time. I thought there'd be some tomfoolery with the Ragnarok being distracted and Vex not taking it that seriously. There was some tomfoolery at the end. We got a double suplex for the 1-2-3, which was interesting. But it looks like maybe there was some injury, maybe with Rosemary there at the end, that maybe fast forwarded it.
Possibly.
But obviously you have something to mention. But also, were you happy that they won? And where do you think they go from here?
So I'm incredibly happy they won. I like them as a tag team. I said on the pre-show that I think Deonna having the Knockouts title keeps her away from, or having the Knockouts tag title keeps her away from the Knockouts title. And she's so good that if she's not, she's going to always be in the chase for a title. Yeah. When the Inspiration joined Impact, you had mentioned that when they won the title, you thought they were going to break the record for longest reign because you had mentioned that, in your opinion, the one stain on that title is that their longest reigning champions is Eric Young. And as much as I would love to see Eric Young come out and win the title again, I think that'd be awesome. I actually think Vexed may be the people to break that title. Because if you remember when Deonna had the Knockouts title, there was thought that she was going to break Taya's longest reigning champions, and they didn't do it. And we were like, okay, they kept it on Taya, that was great, blah, 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 or kept the reign with Taya. Sure. But this one, the great way to honor Deonna, assuming she decides to re-sign, would be, why not let her put her mark on this title, her and Chelsea, and say, you know what, we're the greatest tag team ever. We have the longest reign ever.
Yeah, I mean, that's a thought, man. And if she resigns and they stick around and they do that for that amount of time, I don't know how committal or non-committal Chelsea and them are, but I think that's a dope way to do it. It puts her name in the record books. Once again, man, I think she's a foundation piece that sticks around in Deonna. But to get her name in, you want to respect Taya and let her keep that.
Yeah.
Give Deanna something else, and then they're not going to catch that. Well, it depends, but I don't think they'll catch the Madisons and Gales of the world with 6 reigns, 5 reigns, and beyond. So I think it's a nice way. I like that idea. But it looks like Mia and Jordynne are next up for Vexed, at least at the tapings. Doesn't mean that's going to be a big program. We do have only 7 Fridays away from Bound for Glory. 7 Fridays away. So, wow. Yeah, it's Victory Road's literally 2 before that. So 5 to Victory Road, if I'm not mistaken, and then 2 more after that is Bound for Glory. So we'll see where they end up. But I'm looking at a 4-way. I like what we talked about there. Showing off and showcasing your tag division that I think is turned around rather quickly with dealing with a lot of bumps and bruises on the way, man. Unforeseen in some cases. So.
You never know. Now that Hunter's back in charge of WWE, maybe we work with them, and maybe we get a tag team or 2 over there. Who knows?
We'll see. All right. Next up was the beginning of the show, man. I'm excited. I'm a Jack Evans guy, or at least fan, especially when he was part of Team Canada, of course. But Mike Bailey, defense number 5, successful. When Bailey's on the card, you gotta watch. Not that we wouldn't elsewise, but otherwise, I don't know, whatever. But man, another banger from Bailey. I know I made a comment about that. There was a little wonkiness at the end there, or it seemed on his. He thought there was with the Jack Evans. I don't know if you're familiar, but the Jack Evans was about to take Bailey's kick, and it was the ending. I don't know, but still, man. Despite that little whatever hiccup, a great match, another great defense. I like that he's being challenged by all comers. We had Alan Angels, we have Jack Evans, we have Rocky Romero. I'm hoping we start to, and I know there's a couple matches coming up you can see on the Tron when we take this down at the tapings, but I hope they get into getting some formidable X Division opponents for him. That'll be sticking around, some feuds instead of just this, I'll take on all comers.
I agree. I think the fighting champion is fine for a while. Mm-hmm. You do need to build a good feud with him to establish his title reign. I do want to look at one thing because I have a thought, and every once in a while I like to throw out some crazy ass shit that every once in a while ends up being true. But okay, so Kenny Omega, finishing move, the One Winged Angel.
Okay,
it's the nickname for Sephiroth from Final Fantasy. Mike Bailey, finishing move, Ultima Weapon.
Okay.
Which is Cloud Strife's final weapon in Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
Give me a Kenny Omega, Mike Bailey, X Division title program.
What?
I mean, you never know. He's not doing anything else.
He's healing, right? Is that what he's doing?
I think he's ready to go. I think he's coming back.
I think he'll show up back in his home company. But I mean, that's a great idea. I don't want Bailey losing to Omega or squashing his, obviously they wouldn't let Omega lose. But hey, it's a fun idea.
I'm just saying.
And I like the connection.
You've got the built-in video game storyline ready to go.
Right.
I'm not saying right away, but at some point you've just got to have this beautifully developed pre-built storyline match.
Just because of the names.
Just because of the names.
All right, well, let's keep moving on. We got Maclin enters. He gets his entrance. Sammy starts to, and they brawl. They beat up the ref. The match goes into the crowd. It was addressed, and then they just moved on to the video package. What are your thoughts on that?
I thought it was weird. For a second there, I was like, G's lack of a pick here is actually going to turn out to be the only correct one. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay. I mean, I thought it was an interesting way if you maybe don't want to actually have this match. And you know what I mean? Like if they're like, okay, we're going to push this later, maybe it's an easy way to do it. But I was like, okay, it's a little weird. But obviously it came around. But I did think it was a little awkward way to start it. It seemed a little weird to me.
Yeah, I think it had the hard task of going second, or what would have been second anyways, and they figured they were going to have a balls-to-the-wall match, maybe opening it, as you always say, X Division starts it that way. Mm-hmm. So maybe this was just a palate cleanser and move us around, and for first glance, you're like, man, the initial reaction is, did they just fuck us out of a match that we wanted to see? But, of course, it comes through, and it kind of told the story throughout.
Yeah.
So it's just a different way of presenting it.
Maybe it was a good way to kind of slow things down because, you know, you're like, okay, we didn't get a match. Okay. And then instead of people being dead for the second match, they're kind of, so maybe that was the plan. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought the crowd was good. Speaking of dead, I don't think they were dead. I do see it. We have a phone problem in this country, man. Too many people not watching and just sitting and on their phones. But I thought the crowd, especially you could tell people in the back were you know, whatever, were loud and making it whatever. It got tired towards the end, you could tell, but that's a good sign. And I thought it was one of the more lively crowds. Doesn't beat Atlanta, but it was Chicago was a good crowd.
Man, I thought Tennessee when we were there was pretty good. It's because we were there.
Right,
but,
of course. All right, guys. We'll keep moving on. Help us out. Talk in the chat there. Give us some things to talk about. If not, hey, whatever. You guys give us good comments later, so we appreciate it. And if you're just listening to us, thank you to our audio listeners. We don't address that enough, but thank you guys. All right, next up. VBD defeated the Time Machine Splitters, as Lucha named them. Yeah, they're the Motor City Time Splitters. I don't think Kushita's from Motor City, but I digress.
I don't know. I Googled what's the Detroit of Japan, and nothing came up. So I'm guessing nobody considers like, oh, it's the Detroit of Japan. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I
it's
don't
the
know.
crimiest
place. I was hoping maybe I had something, but who knows?
Oh, man. I was going to make a Stafford joke, but... VBD picking up the win. I picked them up here. Slight production problems. Yeah, there you go, T. Hughes. We'll talk about that. That's actually a comment that we got. And then I actually addressed. I wrote them. I was like, hey, what the hell's going on, guys? Hey, Gary, what's up, buddy? Hey, it seems so chipper, but it's good to see you, Gary. And thank you for your comment. I didn't put up there because I don't like anything that applauds us, you know. But thank you, buddy. So anyways, VBD, Eric Young stepped in. That's why I thought they would win, and they did. We got some Time Machine Splitters, Motor City Time Guns, whatever the hell it's called, Time Splitters. We'll talk about that at the comments section as well. Or, excuse me, Hot Topics. Next up, Gia was right here, as T. Hughes mentioned. Some audio issues, Vex promo. Man, I was happy to see that they because... To me, the only downside of them winning was it was on the pre-show, you know?
Yeah, I did think that was a little awkward, but it gives people a reason to watch the pre-show.
For sure.
When you've got these big matches, it gives you a reason to tune in and maybe gets people.
Well, I think it's a matter of it seems to be the equation is, hey, we're not going to have any title chains on the main picture. On the main card here, let's put one on the pre-show. They did it with Rich and Myers. They did it with this, so it's possible that's it. But between the ending and at first, 76 Philly. We'll talk about that at Hot Topics. IO, what's up, guys? Thank you for lighting it up. I'm glad. It was good to see them talking about wanting to be dominant, talking about, this is the tag team. We are what a tag team looks like.
Their gear looked good together.
Yeah, for sure, man. This is what I think we wanted the inspiration to be, and this is what we're going to get them to be, and two talents to be. It looked like Chelsea was mad at the end, but I couldn't tell if it was that or concern, so it was good to see that they were stoked about being the tag team champions. Kenny King then came out, is talking about Heath and how he's gonna take out the redheaded rebel. Once again, we said this, man. I like Heath enough. He's like the DDP TNA version. At that time when he came, goes through the crowd.
That needs to be his finishing move.
Diamond cutter. Fuck it. Hey, that other one scares the shit out of me, man. But just seems like a broken leg bound to happen. But like this, it's a nice little refresher, just kind of like the Sammy thing going here. And then, of course, we get the chaos of the Sammy thing going through it. Yeah. The Heath got the interview with Gia there. I liked it, man. It keeps Heath relevant. Once again, dude had some bad luck with some injuries, man. And he had some great momentum until then. So, I like that he's with us. And this puts him in a position to at least, dude's a professional. He's going to get the crowd to cheer no matter if you like him or not. So good to see him have a place.
And it gives him a good storyline. It's a slow building, but it gives him a legit thing to do.
Right, that's the key. But speaking, next up, man, I don't even know how to transition to this. It just Bandito defeated Ray Horace, man, a AAA feature. Thoughts on the match, man? Did you get out of Bandito what you were hoping to?
I did. I liked Bandito. I thought he was. I think he looks good. With it being like the AAA attraction match, I'm wondering how long he's going to be here. Because I know obviously we've seen Black Taurus. I almost called him El Torito. That's the little.
Yes, that's the smaller one.
That's the little midget guy from WWE. Black Taurus. That's El Torito's Black Taurus's son.
Yeah, right.
But like with Black Taurus, he's AAA, but he's always here.
Right.
But I've never seen him wrestle somebody else from AAA in Impact. He always just wrestles Impact people or no. So
Laredo Kid, but still, but I get what you're saying. And
so so the fact that it's referred to as like a AAA attraction match, kind of concerns me.
No spoilers.
But I don't know anything.
I know a little bit. Obviously, we have it in the Tron just because they were for advertisements for matches that were going to be on the next day. So they were trying to sell tickets. So they're obviously out there. It's not really spoilers. I don't know the results. But Bandito is part of the 6-man eliminator, which is the way I think we're going to get our main event for Bound for Glory. So
and I would love for him to win. That would be. I don't know. I think it would be a good step for them. But I liked him. I thought he looked good. What about you? Did you think Did he give you what you wanted?
Yeah, man, but I thought Ray Horace looked pretty damn good as well. Which, no, once again, spoiler-free show. It's not kayfabe. We don't know. We just, he just didn't know that until I told him. Same with this. I mentioned that it looks like they're going to have some kind of feud for X Division title, or at least kind of, start building that. And Ray Horace is part of a match with him, Black Taurus, I think, Trey, and somebody else. So it looks like he'll be sticking around for at least the tapings as well, man. But I thought they both looked great, man. If you're into that, I get the people that aren't. You want, but respect for what it is. That's great lucha wrestling, man. I know it's redundant.
Yeah, it's. I think the problem with lucha wrestling is when we were younger and WCW like Nitro had just started, you didn't see it. It was oh my gosh, what is this? This is awesome. Now you have people who everybody tries to do it. And so it does, I don't want to say it devalues it, but it makes it less of the special attraction that it used to be. But when you see it done well, when you see it done right, like when you watch Lucha Brothers and them go, you're like, okay, this is different than watching two randos at, Virginia Championship Wrestling try and pull off a lucha match.
Shout out to VCW.
But I'm just saying, but it's like there's clearly a different level there, and this was, to me, a different level. And I enjoy that stuff, but I understand why some people are like, I feel like I see this all the time now.
Yeah.
So, but hey.
I don't think we do an Impact, and when they do, it's tastefully done. And I thought this was dope, man. And love the Bandito finisher. It made him look good. It looked like they talked about how deceptively strong he is, so he can be in that heavyweight title, or world title picture. There we go. It says we were disconnected for a second. All right, we live? We good? All right.
I think we're good.
Yeah, it looks like that. Yeah, man, Critical Sting says there, once the lucha match started...
let's check.
Yeah, the rest of the card took off. Yeah, it says we're reconnected, successful. So a little bit of hiccup there. Good thing I upgraded the internet. At least it's more entertaining than Japanese wrestling. No, I think I love all kinds of wrestling, man. Pro wrestling, it's just... I get people's things about it, but I thought this was one of my top 3 matches that I enjoyed of the night, so... Next up, Gia was interviewing Moose, which then led to more chaos, which then led to inevitably the match that finally happened. Sami Callihan defeating Steve Maclin after Scott D'Amore banned Moose. Once again, I don't care if they're working together or not. I don't know what that is.
Here's my thing. This is a no disqualification match.
Right.
How can you ban someone from a no disqualification match?
Because it's two separate things.
Like, hey man, you're not allowed to be at ringside.
Yeah.
What happens if I do? What are you gonna do? Like, it's a no disqualification. I guess Moose could get in trouble.
Correct. There, you get fined.
In terms of the match, it's like, who cares?
Oh man. Jesus. Yeah, but Sami Callihan, we ended up getting that match with Steve Maclin. It was a brawl, of course. Thought it looked good. It also made, obviously, the loss from Steve Maclin not feel as harsh, and maybe that's why this happened the way it did. He didn't want to ruin Sammy's buzz or return steam here, and you didn't want to also kill Maclin in a match cut and dry. There he is.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, the no disqualification, it's Sammy's match. So it's not really, I don't really think of it as a loss for Maclin. Like,
yeah.
So
says they're frozen on their end. I don't know, guys. It's recording.
Oh no.
It might be, but it's recording well. So if you can't, unfortunately, catch it on YouTube, one of the unfortunate parts of living in a valley, and especially during weather.
It looks like it's going now, from what I can see.
All right. Next up was the match that had the most implications that didn't have to do with titles, obviously. Well, kind of, because Honor No More, getting the win now, does get a tag team title shot against the Bullet Club and Good Brothers. Looking like we might get that at Victory Road. I'm hoping they save it for Bound for Glory. But your thoughts on that? I'm guessing you're happy with the choice.
I am. Obviously, I'm never happy when Bullet Club loses, but I was happy with the outcome. I think it's what needed to happen. Obviously, I want the Kingdom to win Tag Team Gold, but I also really want eventually Ace Austin and Chris Bay to re-win Tag Team Gold for Bullet Club. But now I'm torn because I obviously don't want the Kingdom to win at Victory Road and then 2 weeks later Bullet Club takes it back. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Kingdom versus Good Brothers is your Victory Road, and then Chris Bay and Ace Austin, Bullet Club is your Bound for Glory match to kind of solidify those two, even in a loss, as we are a tag team. Although I think both of them can be single stars, I think right now sticking them in a tag team may be best for them, depending on where they're going with the world title and X Division.
Yeah, and it looks like, from all intents and purposes, man, it looks like they're keeping Bound for Glory within. I don't think there's going to be anything crazy as far as challengers or any of that nature. So it makes sense for that to happen. We get the right off the Good Brothers at Victory Road. If that's the case, I hope it's not, but if it is, it is. And then we go to Bound for Glory. We go OGK versus whoever. Obviously, the bigger matchup right now would be OGK if they are the champions versus Good Brothers. But either way, I thought it was a fun match, 5-on-5. Sometimes you get lost in them. Sometimes, there's too much going on. The camera doesn't get it. There's some of that, but overall, I thought it was a great match, man. And with that much talent in the ring, I mean, you can't go wrong. So
yeah.
Next up is the king of the mountain. The Knockouts World Title. Jordynne Grace defeating Mia Yim. Let's talk about that. Let's compartmentalize this. Let's talk about that first. A banger of a match. I put this online. I thought the pay-per-view could have ended there, and I would have been pleased. Obviously, I'm happy we still got the match after it, but I just thought they did it. It felt important. Scott Armstrong was the referee. I thought that was cool. Penzer was in there. Really loved. He's got Knockout Match of the Year contender, Critical Sting. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It felt big. It felt like Mia wanted the title, and it felt like Jordynne didn't want to lose it. I know that sounds simple and whatever, but we talk about that with the world. We keep getting people that challenge that are just winning matches or win a battle royal. This felt like something was on the line.
No, I definitely agree, and I mean, both of them came out looking great.
Oh yeah.
Like if Mia turns around and wins the title at Victory Road or in the next month or two, you're like, okay, that's awesome. She clearly looks like she could be a champion. Grace obviously solidifies herself as, okay, she definitely is a champion. Mm-hmm. It was a great match. And I'm excited. Once again, I think the Knockouts division is back to where it once was, as kind of I don't want to call it a cornerstone, but it's one of their key pieces. Like it's
point,
not,
but
it's just incredibly deep.
Yeah.
It's a very deep division, and that's when Impact does its best work, when when it has the Knockouts in the X division are super deep. I think that's when Impact's at its best.
Yeah, I agree. And I know we talk about the world title picture and Josh and who is going to challenge and who, we need to build that up. I agree with you. It's just hard to be so critical about that when the rest of these divisions, the knockouts, all are just knocking it the fuck out of the park, man. It's hard, but I understand. But I thought this was a great representation of that. Jordynne looks like what I want Jordynne to be, which is she's hard fighting. Doesn't need to be dominant. We don't need to see that version of Jordynne. We know who she is as a character. We know who she is as strength. I don't like that her music. I thought she got that great music from the Ruckus guy. What happened with that, man? Wasn't she? And now her music's back to her old one.
I mean, maybe she didn't like. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But other than that, man, I thought it made her look great. And then, of course, we get Masha after that. We thought this was going to happen for at least one of the belts. We want Masha versus Jordynne at Bound for Glory anyways. I think that's a headline match. And look, once again, I think Masha needs to lose it. I think Jordynne needs to have this reign to solidify her as the man, for better or worse terminology. And it doesn't harm Masha, but the cool thing about this is that they never teased Masha versus Jordynne. It's just been something of our imagination. People talk about wanting, and people were excited when this moment happened.
It was the natural progression for Masha, but it's nice when those things just come together. When it doesn't seem forced, it doesn't seem rushed. It just seems like, all right, at this point, this is the next step. It needs to happen. Right. And that's what they did, so I like that. Yeah,
same. And then let's wrap this up for the review portion. The world title match, Josh Alexander defeating Alex Shelley. It's something we thought we saw coming, but it did not take out the excitement of it. I thought, the crowd, for being probably tired as hell from cheering from pre-show on, you could feel the effects of that, but they respected it, and towards the end when it picked up, we're going home with this, it was perfect, man. I thought it was a great match. I want to hear your thoughts on it. And do you think it beats your Sabin versus Shelley match of the year thing?
I mean, I thought it was definitely match of the night.
Okay.
Because of, man, that's rough. Because it was for a title. And I always feel like if you're looking at a great performance in like an NBA Finals, Game 7 is more important than Game 2.
Right.
So
no matter what you do in that game,
no matter what. Yeah. Just like in the Super Bowl, a great catch in the fourth quarter with a minute left is better than 14 minutes left in the first.
Right.
Like it just doesn't. It's that kind of thing where the Shelley Sabin match was amazing. It was phenomenal. One of the best matches. But this one was for a title, and it was great. I mean, I would be completely okay if they ran this back again at Victory Road for whatever reason. I don't know why, but just like, hey, whatever, let's do it again. Like, it was that good. And I think both these guys came out thinking Josh has for a while, in every one of his matches, has looked like a champion.
Yes.
But Alex Shelley is now somewhere I'm like, man. And I think someone else tweeted it, and I kind of agree with him, like, man, I really want to see Alex Shelley as a world champion. Like, and I kind of got that after his match with Sabin, but even more so now. I'm like, man, I would really like to see him, even if it's a short run,
yeah.
I would like to see him get one just as kind of a reward for everything he's done.
I'm the opposite. And the reason is there are people that transcend needing titles. And although cool, you can add Alex Shelley to a Scott Hall, a Roddy Piper, these kind of characters that make a huge mark in the wrestling world. And people look up to him, but they don't need that. They didn't need the title, but are always looked at of like, that guy should have broke through, man.
Yeah, Ted DiBiase.
Wait, which one? Oh, the dad. The dad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Ted.
Hey, man.
I don't think Ted DiBiase Jr. was ever a world champion either, but hey.
He should have beat Taven for the ROH world title. Yeah, it was a possibility, man. I like Shelley getting that respect and getting that due, but and getting his flowers. But I just don't think that's in the cards. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But yeah, this match was great. I'm glad Josh kept it. I think and something we have to remember with Victory Road being so close to Bound for Glory is I doubt they're going to use Josh is going to have to defend his title 2 weeks before, and I don't think they're going to go that route.
I'm interested to see how they do it. With it being that close,
right?
Like, I'm really interested to see what they do, because that's an unusually close. I more think that I almost want to say use Victory Road, and I know they're not going to do it, but if you were going to do a Bound for Glory series, use Victory Road to kind of crown number one contenders. But it's just, I don't know, it's just rough, because
we do get the just for whatever, no spoilers, but we do get the number one contender based off the match I already mentioned.
No, I know, and I'm saying you can't do that, but like, it's just rough to me, because you're trying to build to a Victory Road match and then having 2 weeks to jump. So I'm interested to see, do they not have Josh at Victory Road? Do they maybe do the X Division as your main event or something like that, where you kind of pull some titles off of Victory Road and maybe just put together a really good match? Maybe you reach out to New Japan and say, hey, can Carl Anderson defend the Never Openweight title at Victory Road? Things like that. I'm interested to see that.
Yeah, I also says Victory Road is a prelude to BFG. Yeah, it is. It's just with being so close to it, to each other, to Bound for Glory. Kayfabe wise, I doubt they want to jeopardize the champions, whatever. So maybe it's a 6-man, maybe it's some different things. Pick your poison matches at Victory Road. That's smart, Gary. Where the challenger gets to choose the opponent for each other, and Josh gets to choose his opponent. Yeah, I mean that or the opponent's opponent. Yeah, I like that, man. They got a lot to play with. I hope they do the build and give it time to whatever. It looks like we'll get our challengers pretty quickly, and we could go from there. But what did you guys think, Max? Most importantly, we're going to get to the Twitter poll in just a second, see what they thought. But what are you thinking here? What was your grade?
I give it an A. I think Impact, there are things to knock it about. Obviously, the crowds are sometimes smaller. The production isn't the level of WWE and AEW. You can argue their roster doesn't have the depth of every match, but they continue to come out, and especially on their pay-per-views, premium live events, whatever this would be called, they just knock it out the park. Yeah. They continue to hit home runs with these specials and their pay-per-views, and it really does show you how good this company is. At least at the very least at the top. Yeah. Like, they have stars, and they can put on matches that you can. If these matches took place in an AEW or a WWE ring, or WWE, people would be like, "Oh my gosh, this is phenomenal." Yeah. So,
and that's what's holding them back right now, is that the consensus of the internet, and eventually the bias will wash out when they keep. You can't deny it. We were talking about this off air. Obviously, we're talking about the Knicks, but same thing with some players on there. It's you just sometimes have to accept the bias, because when these people, in this case Impact or the Knicks player we were talking about, proves those people wrong, that, hey, we told you so. Like, there's nothing else you could do. The proof is in the pudding. If we believe so much in Impact, which we do, eventually the cream rises to the top, man. And I think they will, in one capacity or another. We have some things in the hot topics to talk about that could expand them, that we're looking forward to. But I'm looking forward to the build for Bound for Glory. And I also somewhere around there. Definitely an A to B, high B, of course, but definitely an A somewhere around there. Am I just
once again, Tony Khan getting on and voting in the D?
Yeah, man, 5% on D there.
I'm guessing those trolls, are man. Like me. Probably turned the pay-per-view off after Bhupinder lost, and we're like, D.
Oh my god, yeah. No, these it's people going by trying to make people's life sad, and unfortunately, we know whose life's sad. It's the ones that voted D. There's no way you could watch what we just watched, bias of Impact or not. I just can't see a D in there. A C got 2%. No. B got 16%. Okay, I can see that. There were some issues that we'll talk about with production as well. And then 77% went A.
So, no, I agree. Like, the D and the C, I mean, you're not going to make everybody happy. That's basically what that shows, and whatever.
But does it, though? do you think these people, they have there you go. A difference of opinion is one thing, but a D is a blatant trolling. That's critical stakes.
No, and I agree. Like I said, like these are people who, no matter what you do,
are just going to hate.
Are never, they're just going to hate. So there's no, like, you can't make everybody happy. There's no point in even worrying about these people because they're the people that are going to do this no matter what. They're the people that are going to find issues with every single thing.
Right.
Oh, Josh Alexander is too small. Whatever. And you're just like, what?
So, yeah.
Like they're just going to start pulling things out there. Yeah. And every company has people who fans who do stuff like that. There's one thing giving it legit criticism. There's another just hating on everything. So
yeah, and that's what everyone's saying here. Gary as well. Gary, Impact will always be a word of mouth company to me because perception on the internet will never give them a break. Yeah, man, I think it's more so, or I think it's that, but I think all they can do is keep doing what they're doing. If they say and they start responding to the trolls and change course because of that, it's not going to get it. The only way it is word of mouth, inviting your friends to shows, going to the shows when they're in your area. When you're there, don't sit in on your phone. Let's get up and cheer and get everyone involved. So when the TV product's out there, if it's 700 people to 800, whatever it is in the crowd, that 800 sounds like, thousands. So,
and to me, obviously the fans matter, but the only real people that matter are the wrestlers. And you hear certain wrestlers, Ace Austin is one of them.
Yeah.
Every single time somebody tries to shit on Impact with him, like, oh man, it'd be awesome if you were with a good company. Ace Austin just blows them up.
Right.
Like, you guys are idiots. Matthew Raywell, you hear him talk about how much fun the wrestlers that are in Impact really seem to enjoy being in Impact, and it comes across on the screen.
Yeah.
And then that is going to continue, I think in the long run will continue, maybe slowly, but will grow the product when you clearly have a group of dedicated people and you have a company unlike ECW that isn't, that is actually paying people.
Yeah. And then that's the key and you're right about that. It's also not only from the fans and what we have to do as consumers and fans of it. At the same time, we're building a roster of people who seem to want to stick around. And once you build that, then that next signing of the next big guy or whoever it is seems even bigger because they're not expected to fill so many spots and holes. They're just the big guy on the foundation piece of great talent we already have, and that's what we're getting. But let's get to this really quick because I don't want to forget about it. It is the prediction board. Everyone did pretty well. Max, you ended up with 8 out of 9.
I'm happy with it. See, I'm slowly but surely climbing up the ladder. Impact has once again realized that my choices are the smart choices.
Well,
so
our number one, Craig, actually went 6 and 9 here. Shout out to Craig and Nixon. You could catch their Emergence review and grades and results, all of that this Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. BST. Can't wait to see what they have to say. But everyone's inching closer. Not Nixon. Nixon. But Nixon took the fall here. Everyone else, a lot of 8 and 9s. Burt creeping up to 1% below. So, it's fun for us in the crew, so I hope you guys enjoyed as well. But it seems the one that everyone kind of was wrong about was the only one I got right. Violent by Design, Iowa as well. No, man. 8 and 9s all around. Jeff, Lucha, Max, and Burt. So congratulations.
I feel like Craig really burned himself with that Bhupinder pick.
It was the Bhupinder pick. Getting in the last moment. He should have just not said anything, and I would have gave him Myers. I did Sammy in time. I was almost mad that I went with Sammy because it looked like I saw those things come out. Maclin brought the zip ties, the handcuff zip ties. I was like, oh shit, here we go. Like the one. But no, it turned out great. I thought it was a great show. Once again, I know I was wishy-washy there, but I'd go A minus. That's what I'm gonna go with. All right. So there, we'll have the prediction board again for Victory Road and obviously for Bound for Glory. Bound for Glory will be interesting because I will be there. I'm excited about it. It's some pissing distance from my house.
Yeah, it's like right down the street from you.
I'm stoked, man. I'm stoked, and I got some signs. So as I catch up, I got 3 right now that are pretty much finished. As we go, we have 7 Fridays, so I'll start showing you guys one by one. Not that it's super exciting, but hey, whatever. I'm enjoying making them, and it's supporting Impact, so happy about that. All right, let's put the prediction board up. Let's get to hot topics because we got some. Thank you to everyone who put them in. We had a lot. I didn't get to use them all. And some of these are just for fun. So we'll start off with number 1 here. We got our first hot topic. It comes from Bestside92. I enjoyed the show, although lights and audio problems for Emergence were distracting at times. I agree. I don't think it was the in-ring. I think we can agree on that. It was the backstage vignettes and stuff that they had. I tweeted them. I deleted after because they fixed it. Not that it was because of our tweet, but it wasn't something that was going to ruin my A to A minus, but also a distraction. So
Still annoying.
Still annoying. Would not mind seeing Shelley versus Josh at Bound for Glory, this time with somebody turning heel. Okay. Grace and Mia were great. Masha and Grace should be awesome at Bound for Glory. Sammy throwing the chair on Maclin was brutal. Yeah, I was surprised by a lot of the Sabu chair shots. Forward chair shots, but a great brawl there. Shelley versus Josh, I don't think that's in the cards, but wouldn't mind.
I'd be okay with that.
I there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, but I'm glad you enjoyed Emergence, although despite that stuff. Despite the lights and such.
Yeah, I mean, that is something that I do think Impact, because there's been a couple times where I've noticed, and they're never. They usually get them cleared up, but it always just seems like there's always just something. It's like, man, like there's always just some issue they have, and it's just I don't know.
Yeah, man, and that's we're gonna get to it in a moment. About I know there's a lot of people that were clamoring for what was it, Doring getting a title run, and then it was PCO. And I'm like, look, I know we're not deep at the world title scene, and we'll talk about that in a second. But the last thing we need is the main event being headlined by someone who moves.
Doring versus PCO.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Bound for Glory.
Respect what they do, love their spots that they have and what they bring to Impact. But Josh being our main event, that whoever he gives the title to, I hope it's someone that is elevated to his level and isn't a vet. But we don't need to drop it to someone who ain't having match of the nights like he has.
Yeah, I think where both Doring and PCO are, they're in good spots. Yeah. And they should stay in those spots.
Here's our buddy Chris Alita. He's got she's left before. This is about Madison. She's done ROH, Mae Young Classic, All In, TNA Impact for most of her career. What else was there for her to do? We agree. Let's be honest here. Do we think in the next 2 years she was going to be a full active talent? I don't think so. I didn't think so. Madison going to be a loss? Yes, but a major loss. They have depth in the division to cover the ground. Still some female talent available. Let's address that first. And then he goes on to mention Tegan Nox. Not too familiar with her work, but I know she's a talent and is sought out after. So that's good. Got some buzz. And the same with Madison. Yeah, man. Is it a loss? Of course. She's one of the leading knockouts of all time. At the same time, the depth, we can't, look on the depth charts alone. I mean, there's 4 women on there. They're carrying the show at points. I don't think that's as big as some people are making it out to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a loss. Anytime you lose somebody who's been with the company for that long, it feels like it hurts more than I think it actually does. And then I think her going to AEW, people are like, oh, you lost another person to AEW.
Right.
But like you said, she's not – I don't think she was ever going to get another run. I mean, maybe as a final little run as thank you for everything you've done before you retire. But I think that's really it. And we have Gail. Good for her. I think AEW is the best spot for her. Especially, I think she's definitely going to help that women's division over there.
Yeah, I like it.
So, and as for Tegan Knox, I would love Tegan Knox. I know she has some injury history.
Okay.
Her injury history pretty bad.
Yeah.
I think she's torn both her ACLs while
that's
in
what it
WWE.
was. Yeah, in the next.
I'm pretty sure she was supposed to win one of the Mae Young Classics before she tore her ACL.
That's her. Okay. All right.
Against. I can't remember her name. Now she's part of Edge's group, but I'll figure it out later.
Oh, yes, your buddy Murphy, your buddy's wifey there. What's her name? Yeah, I don't know. And then Alex Garcia. You know anything about Alex Garcia?
That I do not. I don't know much about Alex Garcia.
All right. Well, let us know in the chat here in the YouTube comments. We are pro wrestling, but we also self-admittedly aren't able to watch everything. We are not experts. We are fans just like you guys. So let us know. But thank you, Chris, for those comments. This one goes into Madison, and I want Rhea Ripley. Thank you. Critical Sting.
Rhea Ripley. Thank you. Yes.
I want to. Oh, Io as well. Thank you, buddy. Josh should break Rude's reign. Yeah, I'm not against that whatsoever, man. Especially as we try to build contenders for him. I'm okay with him beating, kind of like Bayley, just beating people who aren't. But I would love for him to be in a feud with someone he elevates to be on his level, so we have two main eventers going forward. But this one goes into the Madison one. Max, I want to get your initial response to it. Mike Montgomery says, so how do we get a Madison Rayne onto AEW Rampage, even if it's for like 5 seconds, so she can have a full TV week? He wants to know. Max, what is your initial reaction to that? Because she was on Dynamite. She was on Impact.
Yeah, I think it's going to be rough.
Yeah.
Because if they have a women's match on Dynamite,
yeah,
probably means they're not going to give one on Rampage. But I think that would be funny. I think that'd be awesome. But she's really kind of there just to be a enhancement talent
and head coach.
Yeah, with her eating pins, I'm surprised they don't mention her as a former Impact Knockouts champion, as opposed to just a 5-time champion.
So,
but
my thing is, this was obviously to have the trifecta within last week. My thing.
Pretty sure, by the way, I think she actually did commentary for Darker Elevation. I don't watch those, but somebody told me. So technically, that's a pretty full week. I know it's not Rampage, but if you're doing commentary too.
Yeah, he was just joking around, it seems, obviously playing with the fact that she's on both shows. My initial reaction because I watch Impact in the Treehouse, was she needs to grow a dick. And then that way she'll be on Rampage, because the only way you're getting is if you're a men's match.
I think she really just needs to get into she needs to start internet beef with either Jade Cargill or Britt Baker. If you get in one of those, you've got a chance to show up on Rampage.
They put up for Madison's time in ROH. It's not confusing, Critical Sting. I'm telling you guys, I've been telling you for months that the relationship with Impact and AEW is not good. It might be passable, it might be kind on the surface, but that bridge, there's no one's walking over that bridge anytime soon.
It needs to, because I need the Acclaimed in Impact. I love the Acclaimed.
Yeah, they rap, right? That's their thing. Next up,
and they scissor each other.
Cool. Yeah, I know what you mean, Chris. I didn't mean to say it like that, buddy. Yeah, confusing, but just off. Yeah, it just, man, I'm telling you guys, go back. If someone could find the clip, because I haven't been able to go back and look. There was an Impact where Tony and Scott were backstage in AEW, and it just looked like Scott was the Shawn Michaels to Tony's Hogan, and he was just overselling the shit out of that friendship, and it just looked it looked off, man. Next up, Best Side 92 says, I forgot Lady Frost is still on the roster. Do you still think Impact should bring her back on TV, or should they just release her and sign other women's wrestlers, Max?
I mean, I like her. I think I liked her a lot. I think the problem is with Killer Kelly, with Jordynne, with Mia, she's not going to get a run with the title. But I wouldn't mind. And the problem is there's also people in front. Like, even if she would come back, you've got Masha and you've got Killer Kelly, I think, ahead of her, even for a title shot.
Right.
So I would love for her to get a program where it's just her versus a champion. But I feel like that program is 6 to 8 months away at a bare minimum.
Right. It's the key. It's when it's this deep. It's the same with Madison. If she leaves, rather, they grant her release. Is it a big loss? No, because we have so much depth. At the same time, is she super talented, great look, great wrestler, could come in and do shit right away because she has a built-in, I mean, she's ready to go. Yes, it's just, unfortunately, 88 minutes, and whatever happened, we won't speculate. I don't know backstage what led to this, but it just doesn't look like they're on the same page. And where do you move her into here? Especially for her, look from her side too. She's at a certain age where she wants to be on TV and do things and make a good run. And if you're going to be on BTI every week, do you come back at all?
Here's what I would do with her. I would tell her, if I was Impact, I'd be like, look, go out, take indie bookings. If you get signed to another company, awesome, we'll let you go, no problem.
Well, I think she already has that possibility.
But I'm saying, and then I would tell, if I was Impact, I would say, hey, look, once we get through Masha and Killer Kelly and possibly another Mia Yim storyline, we'll give you not a run, but a program 10 months down the road.
Yeah.
So if in 10 months, like, figure out when you could use her. Figure out your timeline and say, hey, 10 months from now, we would like to put you in a program with our world champion if you're available. If not, awesome. And then if not, you can either shift it because you just take that program and give it to somebody else.
Bro, I just think there's so many. Giselle, who we're not mentioning here, and obviously we need to create tag teams. Savannah and Tasha are getting very little TV, so there's a lot. And from her point of view as well, as this isn't the company she came into, and that's the part with Impact. Impact always looked good to some people too, because hey, the fish is the pond isn't that big.
You could be a big fish in a small pond.
So now that division is deep, do I want to stick around Impact and fight my way to get a main event? So that's what you gotta take into consideration as well. But as far as talent goes, yeah, keep her and use her. But there's only 88 minutes. 88 minutes. Yeah. Next up is from Draven at Wrestling Covers. This is a tweet he had, but I thought it was important. Someone mentioned it in the chat as well. Kushida, Shelley, and Sabin Motor City Time Splitters will be a regular team on Impact Wrestling going forward, according to PW Insider. Thoughts on that, Max? Obviously, they have something with VBD still brewing. Is that what we're looking towards?
I like that. I think if they're going to be a team together, then I definitely think the initial loss was smart.
Yeah.
And then you do obviously a 6-man tag, and they get their win back. I mean, obviously, I said before I want to see Ace and Bay be tag team champions, but I think it would be awesome to see them become tag team champions and kind of New Day rule it. Used to be Freebirds. Clearly, New Day is the better of the two tag teams, so we're going to go with that. Would New Day rule it and just kind of the three of them defended at different times? Obviously, VBD did it as well. I think that would be really interesting for them because it would allow you really, when you have a team like this with 3 people, you only need 2 of them to be there to do something.
Right.
So if Shelley needs to go do something, if Sabin needs to go do something, so you can really bounce around. And I like that. I think that's definitely a win for Impact and a win for their tag team division.
Yeah, that's especially if the Good Brothers go. We need to have some established teams. I always like this because this is what Impact had done really well since originally when Don and Scott came in, which was they built OVE, they built LAX, they built these groups now VBD and the Motor City Time Splitters, building these groups to self-sustain so they have a brand when they come out. They can use them in tag team warfare, whatever you want to call it. I enjoy it, man. It sucks to see, after Shelley, obviously Shelley go right back into this, but it's also Sabin. We could say the same about Sabin. We could say the same about Kushida. That's talent, and they can. So
yeah, but if he's going right back into a program with VBD, I'd rather say, hey, you lost your world title shot. Now you're going right back into another program. Than hey, you lost your title shot. Go hang out with Lady Frost back in Cameron for the next 9 months. But I'm just saying, that's the thing. They already have a program, so he's not leaving TV. They're like, hey, we've got something for you to do. Step right into that and go, as opposed to them trying to say, hey, we're going to figure out what we're going to do with you next.
Yeah, I like that, man. And especially if we get what we think is, the Bullet Club being Ace and Bay. You have maybe the Rascals. So there's opportunity for other tag teams to come in.
Be a good tag
and then
team
OGK look to be getting their tag title signs. So
Bullet Club with Ace and Bay, OGK, the Rascals, and Motor City Time Splitters on top of
VBD, Decay.
On top of Decay. That's a good tag team division.
And then we're looking at the Kingdom most likely being the tag team champions. So it's a whole new era in that. So I like where we're going, man. And that's with losing the Briscoes, possibly losing the Good Brothers. We're always replenishing. So I'm excited to see who steps up. Next up is from Ravens Club. This is one I asked you on the pre-show, Max. I wanted to know your natural, organic opinion to the reign of to
Mike Bailey.
The Mighty Mike Bailey.
I don't particularly like that he tagged Mike Bailey in the post. I never liked.
So Mike Bailey was in the tweet that we put out. This was his response.
Okay, that's fine. Then never mind. I don't know. I agree with you that he needs to have a feud.
Okay.
But I don't mind the fact that right now he's just a dude who's like, you know what, I'll take on anybody. Let's see what you got.
Right.
And I understand, and I think you're going to discuss the Jonathan Gresham line, and I agree. I like people with characters, but I don't have a problem with, as long as your company isn't full of them, to have a guy whose character is, I'm just fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I do. I'm just a great wrestler.
Right.
Like, I like that. I think that's okay to have one or two guys who that's their character.
That's the key. And this is my whole, and this isn't just making Impact or work for me, or me trying to make my like a wrestling fit to what Impact is doing. That's a better way of putting it. I like having characters. I like having, gimmicks and stuff. I don't like generic white dude in black trunks. It's not for me, man. I like my wrestlers to look like wrestlers, to have some kind of vibe, some kind of gimmick. Doesn't need to be big. So Bayley here is one of those 1 to 2 people that I'm okay to have that I go out there and wrestle. Josh kind of has that too, but he's kind of transcended to the point where he's main event Josh, where he's walking weapon. He's kind of got a shit.
Yeah, he's built a character around that. And I'm fine with that. Now, what I would like is Jonathan Gresham, because then you get, I'm a badass wrestler, Mike Bailey. I'm a badass wrestler, Jonathan Gresham.
Right.
Let's see who's better. And those matches to me are fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot like when you talk about Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson. Like, let's watch two technical guys just go at it because I just want to see this match.
Yeah,
so,
and the thing is I think Bailey, and he has some, he has some facial expressions. He has some things to still get the crowd into it. And that's my slight with the Gresham thing is, and we'll talk about that, is he was just making a mention. And we won't get into the race aspect of it because it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But he was making the point that, hey, it's okay to have generic white dude who comes out and just wrestles hard, and he doesn't need a gimmick, but... Well, I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying to me, to enjoy somebody, I kind of need the best of all the worlds. Mix it all together. I'm watching a television show. Do I like throwbacks? Yes. Can Jonathan Gresham fill that void, and is he great doing it? Yes. But that's an exception. I feel Bailey's one of those exceptions as well. I don't want everyone to do that.
And I agree with that.
But I think... with Bailey and a Gresham, it makes sense. You go out there, maybe you have a little look or a gimmick, the no shoes, whatever it may be, the Karate Kid or the octopus, whatever your shtick is, but you need a little something to work the crowd and whatever. I think they both do that well. This is an exception for me, as with Gresham as well. So.
I hate the no shoes stuff.
I know you do. I know you do, Max.
Can you imagine this man in a hardcore match? You throw out some tacks and it's just game over.
What?
Like, he just can't even wrestle. He's just like, nope, I'm done.
I have a feeling Bailey's not going to need to blade and to be in hardcore
If he ever
matches.
faces Sammy, he's screwed. Like...
The Moxley alarm. We should have a Moxley alarm. Moxley. All right. We had Maclin cut open. Next up, so these are a 1-2 punch, and this is what we were kind of talking about. Jamie, stay ready. This is actually taken off of the GoGoPowerRankings one, but it plays into the Doll 99's assessment as well, which is, what if PCO wins the digital media title, making H&M stronger? The other, Doll 99 says, Maclin with the DMC, I think, could elevate that title to where it's on par with the X Division. And that's something you said, is that we think it's just another avenue that needs to be a parallel, because the X Division is more so the young guys who are just getting their break in, that want to perform, and that's all they perform. They don't have the gimmick yet. They don't have the full character. They don't have the full thing. That's what X Division is. Hard, work rate title. But our vision for the DMT, which it can be now that Myers is done with that feud, and he looked great as the White Ranger. Look, I think Myers versus PCO or Myers versus Maclin is a great next step. You could see the 6 guys who are in the what looks to be a number 1 contenders match coming up this week or soon for Bound for Glory. But there's people like Maclin and Sammy and Rich Swann, and that I think should be fighting for this title, which says, hey, I don't have the chance to be at Bound for Glory main event. I'm going to go for this title that keeps me ready for that next title shot. I like it for that. And I like these two for it too.
I think Maclin would be great. If I'm picking somebody from Honor No More, it would either be Kenny King or Vincent. I think either one of them is better than PCO.
I like PCO here because it's not the world. It's
Yeah, but I just kind of like PCO more as someone who like kind of sits back, and when they just need like when they need somebody to get fucked up, they're like, go get him, PCO. And then they unleash this monster out there to kind of just destroy somebody. Like, that's what I like. I don't want him to hold a title.
I do.
I kind of want him to be Honor No More's secret weapon, that when they're like, you know what, we just need somebody hurt, PCO comes out there and is just kind of crazy monster abyss.
I don't know, man. I think with Vincent leading him too, I think it'd be cool. I think he fits that stature. He's a former world champion elsewhere. So even though I don't think he should be our world champion or anywhere near the picture, people like him, Maclin, Swan, who's not in the world picture right now, Bandito, these are people that you can instantly put in feuds with Myers, who's 100% a viable champion.
Yeah.
And is going to make this belt work to where he's wrestling some people with some stature and giving him a feud. Once again, the lineage is what is still intact. So no matter in 3 years' time, if they keep this belt going with the lineage it has, the belt will still have rep. The problem is where they use it, because look right now, once again, Cardona, Grace, Myers, Swan before that. So we have some good names to this. PCO and Maclin fit that mold for me. Yeah. And it keeps them off from, why aren't they in the world title picture? Myers elevating the DMC. I think so, man. I think so, because now we have it on a person who's there, obviously. But they seem to be giving a run to with it. I don't know. All right. Oh, that was the last. Oh, we got one more. All right. So this is the last one. This is actually a interview from Gail before Emergence, but it's something we didn't get a chance to talk about. And I want to mention that. Oh, actually, I have a question from last week I didn't get to ask you, Max. So someone had mentioned that Impact, and this is, you watch a little bit of everything. You see the production. You mentioned it earlier. We might not have the bells and whistles, all that stuff, kind of like Ray Walt said as well. What do you think about the set? Because the crowd is what it is, right? If we're going to stay in small areas. My personal opinion is that investing in it, I'm cool with. But I think it needs to be more 3D. It needs to come out, it needs to expand it to make it feel more interactive, kind of like Impact used to do with the screens or the tunnels. But something that gives it a little bit of character compared to that, but also makes it feel like this is the Impact Zone or whatever. A viable look.
I see. I don't know. I really like their set that has the multiple screens.
Yeah, too. Yeah.
I just wish they would use it better. Like when Bullet Club comes out, bullets fall from, almost like the entrance video, like a third, like something to enhance it. So I think in that case,
I feel like they do.
But do they? I mean, I know sometimes they do, but I don't know. Like, I don't think, not always, but I do think that. I don't know. The tunnels would be cool.
Yeah, well, of
course.
But
AEW has those now.
I just think, go back to, those things where, they were, kind of, I don't know. I feel like it was 2009, 2010 Spike era. Look at those, different little, shapes and stuff that brings it out. Because what I see is when you look forward, I don't mind. It looks clean. It is what it is. It's a rampway. The problem is when you look left and right and you got two guys on their phone and a sign written in Sharpie about someone's,
I think you could. So I think you could do something with maybe 3 screens to where you have one in the middle and maybe two on the side that kind of have an additional something plan or something. I mean, I wouldn't mind them adding more to it, but at the same time, I also wouldn't mind them adding I don't know, a couple different types of that they rotate through, but I guess you want each show to have its thing. I don't know. I'm torn. I like it. It's simple. It's kind of an Impact thing. The tunnels are neat, but I almost think that the way their stuff is set up, you can't have a massive production.
Yeah.
Because if you do, you cut off a lot of the stadium.
But what I think is it's not about having massive production for me or bigger. It's about utilizing the blank space. It's about making it so when we do get a camera shot to the left and there's only 2,500 people there or whatever it may be and they're doing nothing, you have that like TNA used to have on the back. You could they had the Tron in the fan section. So it's a TNA wrestling, a banner, and it would say things like that. Just utilizing different parts of it, and also giving it look, if we're going that ECW route, ECW is synonymous with having that that curtain with the brick and the barbed wire, right? It's that ECW look. It wasn't big, but it was specific and branded, and I think that's what Impact has. It's not branded. It's branded because it says Impact on it, but it's not like, oh, that's Impact. That's a bunch of screens, which are, once again, nice, but I want a world, and I think that's the next step once they rebrand, and that's what this has to do with a little bit. So Gail had mentioned, hopefully in the next coming months to the end of this year, you're going to start seeing maybe a brand new face of Impact, or something just a bit different from what we've been doing. So obviously we talked about the survey they did. Maybe that's what a little bit different comes for play. But if they're going that route where it's more grungy or more a different way of presenting Impact, who could be this person that could jump in and not only be the face of it, but change the look and the feel and all of that as well at the same time? Now, I imagine they would do it all kind of as a rebranding, but still Impact. And, I say Gargano and Candice make a lot of sense. And the breadcrumbs are there. Could it have been for a friend? Yeah, but why? No matter if it's for a friend or not, how shitty is his phone to get that quality of a video? I don't know. So it just felt like maybe there's more to that. They are family. They like to, I don't know. The writing's on the wall. You think for WWE, but my question before I let you go on about it is, if someone told you that it's someone that's coming to be a face, that means bigger name, right? Bigger big stuff. It's going to change the feel and the presentation of everything. Everything's going to be a little bit different. Doesn't that make you feel more like a Wyatt or something?
I was about to say, like, that's the thing. Like if you would have said it's going to be a new face of Impact, I would say, okay, Gargano could be the new face of Impact. But if you're saying it's going to be like change the feel of it, it's going to be a little bit different.
Right.
Like, I can't think of anybody. Like, if we're being, I'm going to name names, none of which will come to Impact.
Sure.
You would be looking at someone like MJF. He's never going to come here. You would be looking at like who else? Cody. But he's in WWE.
But see, that to me still seems game changer. As in that person comes out. Oh, but does MJF or Cody really change the look and the feel of a show?
I guess. I think if you could adjust. But I agree. Wyatt would be the one person. Like I don't know. Changing the look of it like that. I don't know, man. Wyatt is the possibility.
Just because he's such an odd cat to where he wants the creative. He's probably got the money. They're going to take care of him if that's a signing anyways. That's their guy, right? And once again, to have someone that's on Josh's level, obviously above in this sense, would be dope. Is it a reach? Could he show up on Raw next week? Sure. But at the same time, once you hit a certain level, don't you want to be in control of your destiny? Don't you want to be creative? It takes someone who's a little off, that isn't driven by fame and money, to do something like that. And that's why I keep coming back to him. And Rosemary and Sue and all this.
Yeah, I mean, he would be different. Like, the people I can think of that would be different, like, I do think MJF, like, but I don't know. I don't know. He's really the one person, but can you really, like, I don't know, like, completely change Impact around the fit hit like that?
Yes,
to me,
because I think one of the things we do great is that weird other stuff, right? Make everyone fit into this world that might not necessarily fit. Like, a Bailey doesn't fit into the Undead realm, but he still fits in Impact, and they do a great job at that. So maybe it's going to be more Lucha Underground, cinematic, something in that where it all flows better.
I don't know. I mean, if you're looking at people, I just don't know if he. I mean, I understand he's a possibility. I just really don't know if he's available.
Right. And I don't think that means that. It just, that's what comes to mind when I
wonder if there's somebody from New Japan possibly that they could get.
Yeah. I think Juice Robinson is someone who's on Josh's level that we can elevate to be.
Juice would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's already been in Impact. Obviously, he's a member of Bullet Club, which we know has ties to Impact. Juice would be awesome. I don't know. You really kind of have to see where things go. But it's interesting. I'm excited to see who that could be. And hopefully it is somebody and she wasn't just kind of talking to talk.
Yeah, I follow Gail a lot as far as her interviews and stuff, because she always has a gem in there, and it always generally translates into reality. Now, the lot can happen in between then. We obviously thought with Braun and Buddy were coming in, and then obviously people scoop in or have different plans. So let's just see where it goes. But the fact that someone that has such a stroke in the company is saying that leads me to think that maybe something bigger is coming. Now, doesn't mean it's going to be a home run hit. It's possible why it would be a home run hit. I don't want to hype that up. But at the end of the day, I think we can all say gaining someone who is an additional face of Impact, gaining someone who's going to help change the presentation and the whole thing of it, ain't that bad of a...
What's Vince doing? He could be the face of Impact, right?
Oh, Gary says... Who is it? Vince?
Vince? I mean...
I said Shane McMahon not too long ago. Gary says, when Gail says that makes me think maybe they're bringing in another female.
That could be
That's possible as well. We can't take that out of the equation. I don't think that's where our... Obviously, we've talked about extensively. I don't think that's where our weakness is right now. But... it's possible. Now, does that mean if you bring in such another knockout that's such a big name, does that write out Deanna? Is that preparing for Deanna?
Like, to me, even if you remove Deanna, you've got Jordynne, you've got Taya, you've got Killer Kelly, who you just debuted. Like, do you really want to say we're gonna bring in a new face of the company? We just debuted Killer Kelly a week ago. Let's talk about bringing a new face of the company. Like, that to me is kind of like... But
I'm talking a face of the company to me Paige would make sense. Yeah, it does make sense because that's a big name and would be a attention getter. But I'm hoping it's someone to be a foe for Josh for a lot of times, or for the time coming. I'm not anticipating a big free agent signing. I read it more of just a reboot or how the show looks. A new face of... Yeah, I get that as well. I know that's coming. We know by the surveys, and we've mentioned that. I just think that when you say face means someone you're putting there next to Josh, because right now I would say if someone asked me who's the face of Impact, I say Josh Alexander.
Yeah.
So someone to rival him makes me think that, once again, hey, Steve, what's going on, buddy? It could be anything. But with that being said, man, I think we're in not only for the road to Bound for Glory. We said this on the pre-show, and I think we said it last episode, or I said it last episode, and we said it in the prior one. It just feels like, and I don't want to take this light because the shows are still rock solid. We're saying A, or rock hard, as Juice would say, Critical Sting. I still think they're still hitting doubles and triples, but I don't know, man. I think a home run is coming, and I don't know what that is, but I hope so. And if it's a rebranding and doing that, that's awesome. But there has to be to someone else. I don't think it's a new channel. It could be the channel might be rebranded. Oh, the channel itself being rebranded. Yeah, they might do that all. Music. I mean, they got the two things that are the biggest on there are music and wrestling. Music and wrestling to me is ECW. It was the grunge of the 90s. And I think that would be a very good idea for Impact to have I don't know what that word is. An identity. That's the word. All right. So we got a lot under our belt that we got out of. I am losing my mind. There was a lot to talk about. We knocked it all out. If there's anything else we didn't hit or you want us to go more into, of course, please write our hot topics. You guys do write them. We take them from you. We answer them, and we go into them as extensively as we can. If there's anything we didn't hit, of course, write us, and we'd be more than happy to address it. Max, what are you looking forward from Impact going forward? Obviously, the build to Bound for Glory, but
I think that's really it. I kind of want to see where things build. I'm really interested to see how things build to Victory Road and then to Bound for like that.
Yeah,
that shouldn't, because it's such a fast turnover. I'm really interested to see how things go from there, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited just for the even if it's something that we're not necessarily name-wise looking to the matchups. You know what I mean? Like we talked about, it could be this, could be that. Yeah. I'm excited just to see what Impact does as far as storytelling from how we get to point A, which is this Thursday, to point B, which is October 7th. Victory Road obviously in between, but you make a great point. With that such quick turnaround, there has to be some kind of plan and play. So let's look for that, guys. Keep supporting Impact. Keep supporting us. We appreciate that, guys. Look out for our new stuff coming. Check out Tuesday where I join Bert for the first time at GoGoPowerRankings. We talk about the rankings more in depth. Thursday, 4 p.m., 9 p.m. BST for the TBN guys talking bloody nonsense as they kill it and talk about Emergence, just like we did, but they always have some better opinions.
They put a little English spin on it.
They put a little class on it. English spin, I like that. Like billiards reference, Max? No? There. But thanks, guys, for watching. Keep watching Impact. Love you guys. Thank you. See you next time.
Later, guys.
Bye, everybody. Goodbye.